Hello and welcome to the Pond Zone. I'm your host, John, and today we're going to be talking about the maintenance and use of the Alpine UV 10800 40-watt Pond UV clarifier. Now this 40-watt stainless steel UV is rated for ponds up to 10,800 gallons and for pump flows up to 5,300. Now there will be certain times where you'll want to use a lower flow rate and you'll want to treat a lesser size pond, but we'll get with that a little bit later. Okay, let's go ahead and take a closer look at the UV and some of its features, and then we'll go over the fittings that come with it and those you might choose to add. The 16-foot power cord with the transformer is on a brackets that slide as you need them on the unit. The transformer will also come out of the brackets, so you can use that for cleaning or maintenance. Now, if you'll notice, the intake and the outlet ports are placed on opposing sides as well as ends of the unit. There is an additional port on this side. You may notice a small hole in the center, and that is a viewing port for you to be able to tell that the UV bulb is working. Now, some people may need to have an application where their inlet and their outlet are on the same side. Now, it is possible to do that by switching this piece and this piece here. If you do that, you will be losing some of the effectiveness of the UV, because one of the unique properties of this is the opposing sides of the inlet and the outlet, because this places the water that goes through the UV into a spiral. The spiral then swirls around and around the UV bulb, getting treated with the UV rays as it passes through. If you have the inlet and the outlet on the same size of the pump, it will still work, but it will decrease effectiveness because the water is simply going to take a straight path from one to the other. Now, the fittings that come with it, you have your choice of a multi-stepped barb fitting or a clear view, which helps you see whether the UV is on, fitting for a different application. Let me show you this first. Now you have the 3 steps, and here's a piece of 1.5" non-kink tubing. Fits right on there for you. And of course you would want to tighten that down with a hose clamp. If you want to use these nice see-through fittings, let me show you how to do that. First, we're just simply going to unscrew this, and we're going to take the screw ring off. Let's put the fitting on, and the screw ring, and tighten it back up. Now you have some different choices. Now these do not come with the UV, but they're readily available at any pond store or plumbing supply store. If you want to still go with the flexible non-kink tubing, you can use a 1.5" thread to barb, and you can thread that to the inside of this clear piece, and then of course put your non-kink tubing on and you're good to go. But let's say you want to use either flexible PVC or rigid PVC. There's a couple of different ways to do that. First, if you want to use 1.5" flexible or rigid PVC, use a thread to slip adapter and screw that to the inside, and that allows you to put in the 1.5". Now, if let's say you want to go with a wider, you want to go with the 2-inch PVC, that's no problem either. You're going to get a 2-inch rubber coupler. You're going to put that over the end, tighten down the hose clamp, insert your 2-inch tubing, tighten that down, and now you have a very effective 2-inch PVC. The pump that's pumping water into the UV, it's very important for you to have that on one side of your pond and have the water flowing, discharging from the UV to the opposite side of the pond. Why that is because if the UV discharges water into the same place that the pump is pulling water in for the UV, you end up treating the same water over and over and over, and then the rest of the pond remains, covered with algae and unpleasant to look at. So you want the discharge from the UV to be a good distance away from the water going into the UV. For safety reasons, you want to make sure that this UV stays out of water. Yes, it can be rained on. It's all-weather use, that won't be a problem, but it cannot be submersed in water. You cannot have the transformer underwater. So make sure that you mount the UV in a way that it will not go underwater. Now, one of the other tips for the UV is to keep the bulb clean and to change the bulb once per season. These bulbs in general last about 9,000 hours of use, which is pretty much an entire season for your pond. Over time, the UV radiation begins to degrade coming from the bulb. So the longer you operate the UV, the less effective it will become. If you replace that bulb at the beginning of every season, you shouldn't have any problems at all. And the brackets itself allow for better positioning of the tubing to make it easier for you to hook up. Okay, we're getting ready to hook up the Alpine UV 10,800 40-watt pond UV clarifier. And we're going to go ahead and hook that up to another Alpine product. This is from their Echo Twist pump series. This one is a 2,000 to 5,300 gallon per hour pump. It has a variable speed control. It's capable of doing up to 5,300 gallons per hour, which the UV is capable of handling, but we're going to turn the speed of flow down considerably. The Alpine UV 10,800 is a stainless steel 40-watt UV with different fittings, a viewable port to make sure that the bulb is working, a long power cord, removable ballast, and is for ponds up to 10,800 gallons, if not in full sun. And it can generate pumps flows of up to 5,300 gallons per hour. Although again, I recommend considering using a smaller pump to get the most effectiveness from this unit. All in all, it's a pretty good unit, and it should do your pond quite well. Thanks for joining us on the Pond Zone, and we'll see you next time.